Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Albert Einstein. What if everything you've ever known, every experience, every sensation, every person you've ever met, was nothing more than a projection? Imagine, just for a moment, that the world around you isn't solid but a hologram, a three-dimensional illusion crafted by forces beyond your comprehension. This is not just an intellectual exercise. It is an invitation to change the way you experience reality, to step into a new way of being that is not limited by time, space, or the illusions that keep us bound. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? The hologram of our reality. This concept might seem like the stuff of science fiction, but there are those who have devoted their lives to exploring this very idea, only to vanish without a trace after claiming to have unlocked the ultimate truth. One such individual, whose name has been whispered in esoteric circles, dedicated his existence to proving that our world is a hologram. He delved deep into ancient philosophies, modern physics, and mystical practices, piecing together a picture of reality that challenges everything we take for granted. His journey wasn't just about intellectual curiosity. It was a quest for liberation, for stepping beyond the confines of this illusory world and into something far greater. And then, just when it seemed he was on the brink of sharing his revelations with the world, he disappeared. This person was Jacobo Grinberg, a pioneering Mexican scientist born on December 12, 1946. Grinberg's theory as a psychologist and consciousness researcher involved conducting groundbreaking studies on telepathy and extraocular vision, pushing the boundaries of what we understand about the human mind and its potential. He proposed that human consciousness is not just a passive observer of the universe but an active participant capable of shaping and even controlling the reality we experience. One of Grinberg's most compelling contributions is his exploration of the idea that we exist within an informational construct, the hologram we mentioned, where our minds serve as the lens through which this holographic universe is perceived and altered. Drawing from physics, Grinberg introduced the concept of synergy, a term he coined by blending the words synthesis and energy. This idea was rooted in the belief that the human brain, in its process of decoding perceptual reality, establishes connections with a framework he referred to as the lattice, which encompasses space and time. Through these connections, Grinberg theorized that it is possible for human consciousness to interact with the energetic field of the universe, influencing the structure of reality itself. This idea aligns with quantum physics, particularly the EPR paradox, which posits that particles can be entangled in such a way that the state of one instantly influences the state of another, regardless of distance. Grinberg's work wasn't limited to abstract concepts. He was deeply engaged in exploring the neurological basis of these ideas. He extended his synergy idea to human brains, proposing that through meditation and focused consciousness, a brain could establish a non-local connection with other brains, enabling direct communication without relying on sensory input. This means that if human consciousness can indeed influence the structure of space-time and interact with other minds on a quantum level, then our understanding of reality is far more fluid and dynamic than we ever imagined. It raises the possibility that reality itself is a construct shaped by collective consciousness, where each of us plays a role in its creation and maintenance. Dr. Grinberg's theories draw intriguing parallels with the implicate order theory proposed by American physicist David Bohm. Bohm's theory posits that space is not merely an empty void, but a holographic sea of potentialities from which both the universe and consciousness emerge. This perspective offers a resolution to the wave-particle duality paradox in quantum mechanics, maintaining the principle of non-locality, the idea that one particle can instantaneously influence another regardless of the distance between them. Grinberg risked his reputation and career when he boldly attempted to bridge the gap between science and shamanism, and it went so well that when he found the answers he was looking for, a terrible fate befell him. Here's what happened next. During the 1980s, Dr. Grinberg embarked on a profound journey across Mexico, engaging with shamans and psychic healers to rediscover the native psychology and ancient wisdom of the Mexican people. Through these interactions, he observed that shamans seemed to possess an extraordinary ability to manipulate reality in ways that defy conventional understanding. They could, according to Grinberg, perform acts that resembled neurosurgical interventions on the fabric of reality itself, producing immediate and remarkable effects, including what appeared to be materializations out of thin air. In an era when such ideas were often dismissed as pseudoscience, he stood on precarious ground by applying the rigorous scientific method to the mystical practices of shamans. His work sought to uncover the hidden mechanisms of what he called the magic world, striving to understand the forces that govern consciousness and reality. He proposed that these shamans were not merely practitioners of a mystical tradition but were, in fact, skilled navigators of the holographic sea that Bohm described. They had the ability to tap into this implicate order and bring forth changes in the explicate world, the reality we perceive with our senses. Grinberg's studies challenged the materialistic view that sees consciousness as merely a byproduct of the brain, arguing instead that consciousness is fundamental to the structure of reality itself. Despite the challenges posed by the scientific community, which dismissed his work as pseudoscientific, Grinberg remained committed to his vision. His determination to explore and validate the intersection of science and spirituality made him a controversial figure, yet also a pioneer. In the end, his career and reputation were indeed jeopardized, and something far more sinister happened to him. On December 12th, his family had prepared a party to celebrate his 48th birthday, but he never arrived. Initially, his absence didn't raise immediate concern, as it was not unusual for him to embark on spontaneous trips or remain unreachable for days. However, as the days turned into weeks, worry set in, and his disappearance became more mysterious. The enigma deepened exactly 1 year later when his second wife, Teresa, also vanished without a trace. Apart from a possible sighting at a gas station in New Mexico, neither of them has been seen or heard from since. This mysterious disappearance has sparked countless conspiracy theories. Was Grinberg's work too dangerous? Did he uncover truths that others wanted to keep hidden? The hologram in spiritual traditions. Grinberg's work was not rooted in any one tradition or belief system, but was a synthesis of many. He drew from the ancient Hindu concept of Maya, the idea that the world we perceive is not the ultimate reality but a grand illusion. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that the world is veiled by Maya, and only those who see through it can glimpse the true nature of existence. This man believed that the holographic nature of the universe was the modern equivalent of Maya, a veil that hides the deeper truth from those who are not ready to see it. He also explored the teachings of the Gnostics, early Christian mystics who believed that the material world was a flawed and deceptive creation. To the Gnostics, the physical world was a trap, a false reality created by a lower deity to imprison souls. Liberation, they taught, could only be found by transcending this world and reconnecting with the true divine reality beyond it. Our modern holographic theorists saw in Gnosticism a kindred spirit, an ancient recognition that the world we see is not the world as it truly is. But this man didn't just rely on ancient wisdom. He sought to bridge the gap between mysticism and modern science. The idea that the universe might be a hologram has been explored by some of the greatest minds in physics. The holographic principle suggests that the entire universe can be described by information encoded on a two-dimensional surface, challenging our notions of space and time. Our mysterious figure saw this scientific principle as evidence that the ancient sages were right all along. Reality is not what it seems. As he continued his work, Grinberg began to attract a small following. People were drawn to his charisma, his depth of knowledge, and his unwavering conviction that he was on the verge of uncovering something that would change the world forever. He spoke of the hologram not as a cold scientific fact but as a profound spiritual truth. To understand that the world is a hologram, he said, is to begin the process of awakening, of freeing oneself from the illusions that bind us. But with this understanding came a warning. Those who see through the hologram must be prepared to let go of everything they know. The world as we perceive it is comforting in its solidity, its familiarity. To realize that it is all an illusion can be deeply unsettling. And yet, he insisted, it is the first step toward true freedom. Then, just as he was poised to reveal his findings to a wider audience, he vanished. Some say he transcended the hologram entirely, stepping out of the illusion and into the true reality beyond. Others believe he was silenced, his work too dangerous for those who wished to keep humanity trapped in the illusion. His followers were left with only fragments of his teachings, cryptic notes, and the deep sense that he had been on the brink of something extraordinary. His disappearance only fueled the mystery. Was he a charlatan who fled when he could no longer sustain his deception? Or was he a true seeker, someone who had unlocked the ultimate truth and paid the price for it? The answer may never be known, but his legacy lives on in those who continue to explore the possibility that our world is not what it seems. As you delve deeper into the idea that reality might be a hologram, consider the implications for your own life. If the world around you is an illusion, what does that say about your experiences, your struggles, your aspirations? Could it be that the limitations you perceive are not real, and that you have the power to transcend them by shifting your perspective? The journey this man embarked on was not just a search for knowledge. It was a call to awaken, to see beyond the veil and step into a reality that is boundless, infinite, and utterly free. Proof of the hologram. Another philosopher who offers an intriguing perspective on the nature of reality is Immanuel Kant, an 18th century German thinker. Kant didn't have access to our modern scientific knowledge, but his ideas laid the groundwork for how we think about the mind and its relationship to the world. He proposed that we don't perceive the world as it truly is. Instead, what we see is shaped by our mind's inherent structures and categories. Time, space, and causality, according to Kant, are not inherent qualities of the universe but frameworks our minds impose to make sense of it. In other words, what we perceive as reality is a projection of our mental faculties, a construction that helps us navigate the world. Kant's ideas can be seen as a precursor to the holographic principle in modern physics, which suggests that the reality we experience might not be a direct reflection of the universe but a kind of projection. Fast forward to the 20th century, and physicists began to propose ideas that eerily echoed Kant's philosophy. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the universe as a hologram comes from the study of black holes. In the 1970s, physicist Stephen Hawking discovered that black holes aren't entirely black. They emit radiation now known as Hawking radiation. This discovery led to a paradox. If black holes can evaporate, what happens to the information they contain? According to the principles of quantum mechanics, information cannot be destroyed. So where does it go? To solve this paradox, physicists proposed the holographic principle. This principle suggests that all the information contained within a three-dimensional space can be encoded on a two-dimensional surface that surrounds it. In other words, just like a hologram creates a 3D image from a 2D surface, the universe we experience might be a 3D projection from information encoded on a distant cosmic boundary. This idea might sound far-fetched, but it has gained significant traction in the scientific community. The holographic principle has been supported by various calculations and models in theoretical physics. It offers a way to reconcile the seemingly incompatible theories of quantum mechanics and general relativity, providing a unified framework for understanding the universe. But what does this mean for us? If the universe is a hologram, then everything we perceive as real is, in some sense, an illusion. This doesn't mean that our experiences are meaningless or that reality doesn't exist. Rather, it suggests that what we see, touch, and interact with might be a projection of deeper, more fundamental forces. The philosopher Plato hinted at something similar in his famous allegory of the cave. In this allegory, prisoners are chained in a cave, only able to see shadows cast on a wall. To them, the shadows are the only reality, but the true source of these shadows, the objects and the light outside the cave, remains hidden from them. Similarly, if the universe is a hologram, then what we perceive as reality is akin to those shadows on the wall. The true nature of the universe might be something we can't directly perceive but only infer through the patterns and projections we observe. This idea has profound implications for our understanding of existence. It suggests that our physical world is not the ultimate reality, but a manifestation of something deeper and more abstract. In this context, the spiritual practices and philosophies that encourage us to look beyond the material world take on new significance. They aren't just about finding peace or achieving enlightenment. They are about piercing the veil of illusion and seeing beyond the hologram to the underlying truth. This is where the teachings of Eastern philosophies, like those of Hinduism and Buddhism, become particularly relevant. These traditions have long taught that the world we perceive is not the ultimate reality but a transient, illusory manifestation of something deeper. Buddhist teachings, for example, speak of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, which is driven by ignorance of the true nature of reality. The goal of spiritual practice in Buddhism is to achieve nirvana, a state of awakening that transcends the cycle and reveals the ultimate truth. Similarly, Hindu philosophy speaks of moksha, the liberation from the cycle of illusion and the realization of the self's unity with the divine. When we view these teachings through the lens of the holographic principle, they seem to align remarkably well. If the universe is indeed a hologram, then achieving enlightenment or liberation could be seen as an awakening to the truth of this reality. Understanding that the world we see is not the ultimate truth but a projection of something deeper. So what is real and what is not? What is hologram and what is truth? Understanding what is real and what is not is a question that has puzzled humanity for centuries. Reality, in its simplest form, refers to the state of things as they actually exist, independent of our thoughts, perceptions, or interpretations. But the more we delve into this concept, the more we realize that defining reality is not as straightforward as it seems. Modern science, too, questions the nature of reality. Quantum mechanics reveals that at the smallest scales, particles don't behave in a way that aligns with our everyday experiences. They exist in states of probability, only becoming real in a definite sense when observed. This has led to the suggestion that reality at the quantum level is not fixed but rather fluid and dependent on observation. Moreover, the idea that our universe could be a hologram, a projection from a two-dimensional surface, adds another layer of complexity. If this theory holds true, then what we perceive as a three-dimensional reality might be an illusion, much like a holographic image. So what is real and what is not? It appears that reality is not a single static thing but rather a complex interplay of perception, consciousness, and perhaps something even deeper that we don't fully understand yet. The reality we experience daily, the physical world, is real in one sense, but it may also be a surface layer of a much broader, more profound truth. What we consider not real often includes illusions, dreams, or hallucinations, things that exist in the mind but do not have a physical presence in the external world. However, even these experiences can feel real to the person experiencing them, blurring the line between what is real and what is not. Enlightenment and the hologram. If Grinberg and Bohm are correct, then our minds are not confined to the physical world but are active participants in a much larger interconnected reality. This idea invites us to reconsider the nature of existence, to explore the deeper dimensions of our consciousness, and to recognize the potential we have to shape our reality in ways we have yet to fully comprehend. Will you also disappear like Grinberg if you delve too deep into this knowledge? It's a question that lingers in the mind, wrapped in both intrigue and caution. Grinberg's vanishing act adds an eerie layer to the truths he uncovered, as if the universe itself moved to silence him after he came too close to its core secrets. But rather than a literal disappearance, the deeper danger might lie in the dissolution of the boundaries that once defined your understanding of reality. Grinberg's legacy challenges us to question the nature of reality itself. The more you understand, the more the edges of your current reality may blur, revealing new dimensions of existence. Will you have the courage to see beyond the veil, to let go of the constraints that have bound you to a single perspective? In the end, the choice is yours. You can remain where you are, safe within the confines of conventional understanding, or you can take the plunge, embracing the unknown as Grinberg did. But remember, with great knowledge comes great transformation. Once you see the world as a hologram, nothing will ever look the same again. The question is not whether you will disappear, but whether you will emerge on the other side forever changed.